Hey everybody, welcome back. So this is just to show you guys how exactly I've broken down my different nodes, and I can then go and copy and paste the necessary artwork inside each piece and add additional ones if I realize along the way that I need additional ones to accommodate the different pieces. So over here, I started off right away using the arms. So I have both arms over on the left side of my structure. You can see I've actually narrowed down the amount of composites that go into my master comp over here. So basically I have the arm front over here, inside of which I have the hand front, sleeve front, which will be this part here, invert cutting into the arm, the forearm front, the arm front, and the two little pieces of hair, one for each, because those will be moving as well. I have the same thing for the other arm over on this side, and then I jumped over to the entire head. So the head, which contains probably the most part, or at least as many parts as the rest of the body. So I've got the eyebrow for each side, front and back. I've got the eyes here that I've split into two composites. Eyelid top, which is this little black part over here. The pupil highlight, the pupil, so just the black circle in here, and the eye, which will be this entire shape over here. I have then the mouth that has been connected into its own composite. The mouth is very often one of the most challenging things to do in a 360 rig, only because, especially if you start putting apart the different pieces, so you'll have the little piece on the lip here, you'll have the upper lip, lower lip, both corners of the mouth here. You want to have a lot of flexibility in the mouth, and having it also connecting from one view to the other can be quite challenging, but we'll be able to look at that a little bit later on. But now, for now, we can just make sure that we separate it properly. So upper lip, lower lip, tongue, jaw, lip split, which will be this thing right here, this little line. We have the lower teeth and upper teeth. And in some cases, we may even want to have an additional node where we have the back of the mouth, if we want that to be compatible with the side view, which is quite a challenge to do in a 360. We then have the nose to complete pretty much the larger portion of the face, and we'll have the muzzle. So the muzzle won't necessarily show over here in the first part of our rig, since it's going to be over on this side, but definitely when we get to the side view and we want to distort certain pieces to have that little lump kind of appearing over on the side here. So I look over here, I do have a little piece that kind of sticks out a little bit more. So we'll be able to use that muzzle to create that lump. We then have the hair tuft 1, 2, and 3. These represent the ones that we have over on top of the head. We want each of them to be able to move individually. We'll have as well the ears still into the head over here. So the ear interior, front. We have the outer portion of the ear, the little piece of hair inside of the ear. So we've got over here the little piece of hair coming at the top. You don't really need to separate this one. We can always do so using a deformer. And finally, we have the outer portion of the ear. So basically the outer ear will be the piece that you don't see, located at the back of the ear. Over on this side, this is one that I actually cleaned up already. If I go back to my clean here, and let's just go back to our character. I have this one over here located at the back of the ear, so really just underneath, and you can go over here to see what exactly it's going to do. It's not visible here, but then eventually we'll have to get that piece starting to appear and eventually kind of covering up and becoming this part of the ear. So to have the transition made as smoothly as possible, we'll need that piece. Going back into my head, we have as well, so this pretty much sums it up for the ears. We have the little pieces of hair on each side of the head as well, which we'll need to separate. So I'm keeping one little triangle for each of these. So we'll have 4 pieces total, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll have those as well. And of course we have the head, so the top portion of the head over here. The bottom portion will be taken up by the jaw, which we've set inside of the mouth a little bit earlier on. So we have the jaw over on this side. And that pretty much sums it up for the head. We'll then have, of course, the neck, and then going into the torso, we have the front part of the vest, we have the back part of the vest right here, the 3 pieces of chest hair over here. I've separated these 3. It's going to make it look much more natural rather than having this move as a block. We have the belly, which is this little pear-shaped piece that we have right here, and the torso, which will pretty much be this part as well. I've created as well a node for the hips, so it will be a little bit easier to work if not everything rotates from the body. So usually I like to have that piece in there kind of merging with the torso. We have the crotch line, so we can have that either in 2 pieces, but as we keep moving it eventually just becomes 1, so probably a good idea to just keep 1 for this for now, and if need be we'll add another one. We've got the tail. Even though it's not visible inside of the front view, you want to make sure that you have that for moving around in the subsequent views. We have the feet over on this side, so the foot, the leg, we'll have the thigh as well, and I've created a little piece over here for the sole of the feet. So basically if they lift up, to have a little surface that you can bring under to create a darker portion underneath the foot. We have the ankle spot as well, so this little spot here underneath the cutting into the bottom part of the leg is going to be necessary as well to adjust in the different poses. And that's pretty much it. So we do the same thing for both legs. That's all of our nodes. Again, we're not necessarily limited to this. We can make sure that we add some additional ones along the way. And in terms of working with these, try to set them up on the comps first. We'll be able then to add some colors into it. So make sure that you have your layers in the proper art layers. So line art in line art, color art in the color art. And having both of those layers will make it much easier after to order them on the composites. So you may have done a basic lineup first, but now you'll definitely see a little bit better how these layers work inside of the camera. So I'll just come back in a few seconds with the final result and we can take it from there. Hey guys, so this is just a quick comeback to show you how my rig is looking right now. I've finished preparing the different pieces that we have in here. As you can see, as I click through the different pieces, they get highlighted as purple because currently they do not have any pegs, so I'm not able to move anything around, but it gives you a quick idea of how much we've broken down these different pieces. The head is over here, the jaw is over here, we've separated the little pieces of hair, every piece of the ear is broken down. We've split these 3 pieces as well. I have the 2 parts of the vest, so it doesn't necessarily look nice right away. You want to make sure that you position these on the composites as they should be on the the front pose, as you can see here with the vest, even though it kind of covers up a lot of the stuff that we find in there, I've made them a little bit bigger to later on accommodate the rotation. So it's always kind of keeping that in mind, that these are going to be used later on as we kind of drag this over here and drag this part a little bit further into the character. So if I deactivate these real quick, I've broken down the arms into 2 different pieces. So sometimes it can be good to keep the ellipses right here to be able to figure out where your pivot point is going to go. If you didn't keep it, that's no big deal. We'll be able to set those pivot points in the next stage. You can see the sleeves here are covering up a bigger portion of the arm so that I can move it around. I've got a whole bunch of pieces here. We have the crotch line, we have the legs, which have been broken down in 2 as well. You can see I also have only 1 hand. I am going to be cloning this one later on to flip it to access the other side of the character. So we'll be cloning it, but keeping the timing distinct, so that whenever we add a new hand in there, we'll be able to have it in here as well. So creating us a nice library without having to copy and paste it over into multiple ones. So this is how it should look. You guys have access to the scene as well. You can open it up inside the files that were provided, and I will see you guys in the next step.